Right now, millions of men are waking up already tired, already tense, already overwhelmed, and they don't even know why. They're not weak, they're not broken, but something in modern life is silently pushing men into constant stress mode, and almost no one is talking about it. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why men are more stressed than ever and what's really happening inside the male mind and body. A few decades ago, stress was mostly temporary. A problem came, you handled it, and your body returned to normal. Today, stress has become permanent. For many men, it's no longer about one bad day or one tough situation. It's a constant background pressure that never fully switches off. Bills, work pressure, social expectations, relationship responsibilities, financial uncertainty, health anxiety, comparison on social media, all of it stacks up. And the male body was never designed to live like this for years on end. To understand why men are struggling so much today, we need to understand how male stress actually works. When a man feels pressure, his body releases cortisol, the stress hormone. In short bursts, cortisol is useful. It sharpens focus, increases strength, and prepares the body to deal with danger. But when cortisol stays high all the time, it starts to damage the system. Testosterone drops, sleep quality declines, fatigue increases, motivation disappears. The mind becomes foggy, irritable, and anxious. Over time, a man feels like he's running on empty, even if he's doing everything right. One of the biggest reasons men are more stressed than ever is the pressure to perform without permission to fail. Society still expects men to be strong, stable, and dependable at all times. A man is expected to earn, protect, provide, and solve problems, often without showing emotion or asking for help. If he struggles, he's told to man up. If he talks about stress, he's told others have it worse. Slowly, this trains men to suppress emotions instead of processing them. But emotions don't disappear when you ignore them. They move inward, turning into chronic stress, anger, or numbness. Work culture has also changed dramatically. Many men today don't just work to live, they live to work. Long hours, constant emails, performance metrics, job insecurity, and the fear of being replaced have created a state of continuous alert. Even when a man is at home, his brain is still at work. His nervous system never fully relaxes. Over time, this creates burnout, even if he doesn't realize it. He may just feel off, less driven, less confident, less alive than before. Another massive but overlooked factor is financial stress. In many cultures, a man's self-worth is still closely tied to his ability to earn. Rising costs, unstable economies, debt, and unrealistic lifestyle expectations make many men feel like they're always falling behind. Even men who earn well often feel pressure to earn more. This constant comparison, especially through social media, keeps the stress response active. The brain interprets this as a survival threat, even though there's no physical danger. Technology has made this worse. Men are more connected than ever, yet more mentally overloaded. Constant notifications, endless scrolling, and 24/7 news keep the brain in a state of low-level anxiety. The mind rarely gets silence, and silence is where recovery happens. Without mental recovery, stress compounds day after day. Relationships also play a role. Modern men are expected to be emotionally available, financially stable, physically fit, mentally strong, and endlessly patient all at the same time. Many men want to meet these expectations, but feel like they're failing no matter how hard they try. When a man feels he's not enough, stress becomes personal. It's no longer just pressure, it becomes self-criticism. There's also a biological side few people talk about. Chronic stress lowers testosterone, and low testosterone increases stress sensitivity. This creates a vicious cycle. The more stressed a man becomes, the harder it is for his body to recover. Energy drops, confidence drops, drive drops. And instead of recognizing stress as the cause, many men blame themselves. Perhaps the most dangerous part is that men are less likely to talk about stress. Not because they don't feel it, but because they've been taught to endure silently. Over time, this silence turns stress into physical symptoms: headaches, back pain, stomach issues, high blood pressure, sleep problems. The body speaks when the mind stays quiet, and here's the truth most men don't realize. Feeling constantly stressed is not normal. It may be common, but it's not natural. The male nervous system evolved for challenge, followed by recovery. Today, many men face challenge without recovery, and that imbalance is at the core of this crisis. And this brings us to the next question. If stress is everywhere, why does it hit men so differently, and what is it doing to their identity, motivation, and mental health over time? To understand why stress affects men so deeply, we have to look at how men are wired to find meaning. For most men, purpose is closely tied to progress. Building something, improving skills, providing value, moving forward. When a man feels stuck, undervalued, or replaceable, stress doesn't just affect his mood, it attacks his identity. And modern life is full of situations that quietly make men feel exactly that way. Many jobs today offer very little sense of completion. Work never really ends. There's always another task, another email, another deadline. The brain doesn't get the satisfaction of mission accomplished. Without that sense of closure, the stress response stays active. Over time, this creates a feeling of endless pressure without reward, which is one of the fastest paths to mental exhaustion. Another reason men are more stressed than ever is the loss of physical outlets. Historically, men release stress through physical labor, movement, and real-world problem solving. Today, many men spend hours sitting, staring at screens. Stress builds up in the body, but there's no physical release. Cortisol stays high, muscles stay tense, breathing becomes shallow, and the nervous system stays in fight or flight mode. This is why exercise helps, but it is also why simply working out doesn't always fix deeper stress. Sleep is another silent casualty. Stress makes it harder to fall asleep, and lack of sleep makes stress stronger. Many men go to bed exhausted but wired. The mind keeps replaying conversations, worries, and unfinished tasks. Over time, poor sleep reduces emotional regulation, increases irritability, and lowers resilience. Small problems start to feel overwhelming. This isn't weakness, it's biology. Social isolation also plays a huge role. As men get older, friendships often shrink. Work, family, and responsibility take over. Many men have no safe space to talk openly without judgment. Studies consistently show that men have fewer close emotional connections than women, and loneliness itself is a powerful stressor. The brain interprets social isolation as a threat, increasing cortisol and anxiety levels. There's also confusion around masculinity. Traditional roles are questioned, but no clear replacement has been offered. Many men feel caught between expectations: be strong but sensitive, ambitious but present, dominant but gentle. Without clear guidance, men often feel like they're failing at being men, even when they're doing their best. This internal conflict creates chronic stress that doesn't have an obvious solution. Health habits add fuel to the fire. High caffeine intake, poor diet, alcohol use, and late-night screen time are often used as coping mechanisms. They offer short-term relief but increase stress long-term. Blood sugar crashes, gut inflammation, and hormone disruption all make the nervous system more reactive. The body stays on edge. One of the most damaging myths men believe is that stress is just part of life and must be tolerated. But unmanaged stress slowly erodes motivation, ambition, and joy. Many men don't realize they're stressed, they just feel numb. Things that once mattered stop feeling important. This emotional shutdown is the nervous system's way of protecting itself, but it comes at a cost. Over time, chronic stress changes how a man sees the world. He becomes more defensive, less patient, and more withdrawn. Not because he doesn't care, but because his system is overloaded. This is why stress in men often shows up as anger, irritability, or silence rather than sadness. The emotion is there, it just wears a different mask. And here's the critical point. Stress is not just a mental issue, it's a full body state. When the body is constantly preparing for danger that never arrives, it wears itself down. That's why men today are experiencing higher rates of burnout, anxiety, and stress-related health problems at younger ages than ever before. So, the real question becomes, if modern stress is unavoidable, how can men break the cycle instead of being crushed by it? The first step to breaking the stress cycle is understanding that stress isn't a personal failure, it's a biological signal. Your body is telling you that demand is exceeding recovery. Modern life constantly increases demand, but rarely protects recovery. And for men, recovery is often mistaken for laziness. Rest feels like falling behind. But without recovery, performance eventually collapses. One of the most powerful stress regulators for men is control. Not total control over life, but control over daily choices. When a man feels he has no control over his time, energy, or direction, stress skyrockets. Even small acts of autonomy, setting boundaries, limiting notifications, creating a daily routine can significantly calm the nervous system. The brain needs signals of safety and predictability. Physical movement is another key. Not just for fitness, but for nervous system regulation. Walking, lifting, running, or any form of movement tells the body, the threat has passed. This lowers cortisol and increases dopamine and testosterone. Men don't need extreme workouts to reduce stress. Consistent, moderate movement works best. Sleep must be protected like a non-negotiable asset. Deep sleep is when stress hormones reset. Without it, no amount of motivation or discipline can compensate. Reducing screen exposure at night, keeping a consistent sleep schedule, and slowing the mind before bed can dramatically change how stress feels during the day. Connection also matters more than most men admit. Talking doesn't make stress worse, it releases it. Men don't need to overshare emotions, but they do need honest conversation. Even one trusted person can reduce stress levels significantly. The nervous system relaxes when it feels understood. Purpose is the final piece. Stress feels unbearable when suffering feels meaningless. Men need goals that feel real, personal, and achievable. Not social media success, not external validation, but progress that aligns with who they are. Purpose turns pressure into challenge instead of threat. Here's the truth. Men aren't weaker today, they're overloaded. Their biology hasn't caught up with modern life. And until stress is addressed as a system problem, not a personal flaw, men will continue to suffer silently. But stress doesn't have to control your life. When you understand it, respect it, and manage it intentionally, it becomes a signal, not a sentence. And that awareness alone is where real strength begins. If you're a man watching this and thinking, "This feels like my life," know this: you're not alone, and you're not failing. The stress you feel isn't because you're weak, lazy, or incapable. It's because you're living in a world that constantly demands more while giving you less time to recover. And your body is responding exactly the way it was designed to respond. The most important shift is awareness. Once you understand how stress works, you stop blaming yourself and start making smarter choices. You begin to protect your energy. You take recovery seriously. You stop measuring your worth only by output and start paying attention to your health, focus, and peace of mind. That's not weakness, that's intelligence. Men don't need to escape responsibility to reduce stress. They need balance, structure, movement, rest, and purpose. Small changes, done consistently, can slowly pull you out of survival mode and back into control. Stress doesn't disappear overnight, but it becomes manageable when you stop fighting your biology and start working with it. If this message resonated with you, take it as a sign to pause and reflect. Ask yourself where your stress is coming from, what your body is trying to tell you, and what one small change you can make today. Because when a man learns to manage stress, everything improves: his health, his focus, his relationships, and his confidence. This isn't about becoming tougher. It's about becoming healthier. And that's the kind of strength that lasts.